Law Beats. Law Beats.
Yup. Let me clear my throat. Pause. Players Pippa D Son, and we are back. Yes. It's a beautiful day in the building, man. It's a beautiful day in the building. Another dope ass guest today. Y'all know how I give it up, man. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Players Pit with D Sun. Used to be called formerly the Players Pit Power Hour. It's no longer called that. We just gone ahead and we just gonna wrap the whole thing up and just call it the Players Pit with D Sun. Let me adjust my camera. Y'all know I'm not a tech guy. I'm learning this shit on the fly. Yet we keep doing our damn thing. Welcome everybody back again, man. I want to get straight to it, man. I got a wonderful guest, but before I bring my guest on, man, before I get into some other back, because I got some good news, I got some big news I want to share with y'all too, man, because it wouldn't be possible without the pit. But Khalil Mack, bro, like I ain't feeling it, man. I ain't feeling it, man. My special guest in the back. I know you can hear me, man. Khalil Mack, yeah, nay. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, man. Is that you cool with that? You cool with Khalil Mack being traded, man? If you're okay with Khalil Mack being traded, man, make some noise in the comments, man, because I'm not feeling it. I am not feeling it. Let me make sure my levels are good, man. I feel like I'm good. I feel like I'm decent. Yeah, I'm decent. Another week in the Players Pit. Y'all notice I ain't take this week off. I'm still in Facebook jail, but I didn't take the week off. I'm still in Facebook jail, but I did not take the week off. All right. Mark Zuckerberg still got me in them slammers, man. I'm serving 16 of them things, man. I'm serving 16 of them things. I had 31. I had 30 days. I'm on 16. I got 16 days left. Man, Zuckerberg, man, I just don't know what he in with me, man. I'm almost out, y'all. I'm almost out. One time for all my people in Facebook jail locked up, man. This is for you. One time for my people in jail, man. I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you. I'm almost out, though. I'm almost out, y'all. I'm almost out. Trying to give it a little time. Y'all know how we give it up before I bring the guest on. If you in the building, please make some noise in the comment section. See a couple of y'all in the building on Twitch. Y'all know, man. Y'all know it's man. Like by me being in jail, I can't put the joint inside of the Facebook group for my own personal profile, so I had to make a burner account on my KD shit. So if you see Spencer Strathmore, that's me. If you ever seen the HBO show Ballers with The Rock, please tell me y'all seen Ballers, bro. If you haven't seen Ballers, that's why I got it. Oh, that's my alias. That's my burner account, man. I got a burner account, man. Straight up and down. Let me talk into the mic a little bit, adjust my mic a little bit. Got a burner account inside of the pit. Before I bring my guest on, too, I want to talk about some other crazy things that's going on, man. Brittany Griner, bro. Like, that's tough, man. Like, the whole Brittany Griner thing, she being detained out in Russia. You know, she was trying to bring that splat back. Man, like it ain't much to really say about that, to be honest, man. I feel like you can keep it real about the incident, but at the same time have some type of empathy. So I don't even feel the need to even demonize her over the situation. We just got to make better decisions, man. Hopefully she gets up out of there and makes it back to the States, man, like unharmed and, you know, without too much static, man, because we already know with the whole Russia, Ukraine, US thing, man, it's ugly right now, man. So it's got to be ugly to be detained over there. I saw something that I read something earlier. I don't know who. I think the Secretary of State or something like that said they like working feverishly like around the clock to get her up out of there, man. So one time for Brittany Griner, man, you know, hopefully she get up out of there. Hopefully she get up out of there safe and sound, man. I'm not with she made a mistake. This whatever. We ain't gonna demonize her and kick somebody while they down. Just get back safely, man. Like I said, Bears trade Khalil Mack, man. I ain't digging it. I ain't feeling it. I see a lot of people inside of the Facebook group, inside of the Players Pick group. Y'all loving it, saying the Bears can't release and you know, Mac was over the hill, and look, man, I'm not a fan of it. I get it. I just feel like you got to get more than a second round pick and a 6th round pick back. I'm not mad at the 2. You know what I mean? The 2 nowadays is like a first, especially in the NFL. You get somebody in the top 2 rounds, especially like in that top half of the 2nd round. That's like having a 1st round pick. So I'm not mad at that. But that 6th round pick, I'm not digging it, man. I look at how the Broncos got a 2nd and a 3rd for Von Miller, and Von Miller didn't even play he ain't played for damn near 2 years. And you could make the argument that Khalil Mack was better than Von Miller over the last 2 years, over the last 2 seasons. So you could make the argument that Khalil Mack was probably like a top 5, probably like a top 5 edge rusher in the league the last 2 years. Obviously, you got the Bosa's. You got a couple of other cats too. TJ Watt. You can make the argument he could have commanded more than just a 2nd and a 6th round pick. That 6th round pick to me is like keep the change type shit. Like I think that's just mad disrespectful. Like we're gonna get y'all a 2nd and a 6th. You can't tell me that was the best offer the Bears could have got. And I think that's where I got the issue at. That ain't the best offer the Bears could have got. I feel like that's more so that was the first thing they probably saw that came across the table, and he was like, all right, we're going to pull the trigger on that. Nah, bro. Now, I still rock with you, Ryan Pose, though. I still rock with you. I'm scratching my head, though. Like, I'm scratching my head, especially with Flus coming into town. Flus guy. One time for Flus guy. In case you don't know who Flus guy is, that's the nickname I gave Matt Eberflus, Flus guy. With him coming to town and coming back with a 4-3, you get a chance to rush Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, who just had 20 sacks, like 99% of the time with their hands in the ground, like not dropping back in coverage. I feel like you got to see what that looks like. But I get it. But I'm not. I'm not a fan of it. So now you get Khalil Mack. I ain't tripping because it ain't like we got to see the Chargers. But now, the Chargers, they get them probably a motivated Khalil Mack, a healthier Khalil Mack. They going to be nasty on the edges with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Ooh. Ooh. It's going to be sick. Shout outs to Russell Wilson, man, in that division. That's why I'm saying that to you, man. Hey, bro, you finna be running for your life over there. They not playing with you over there in the AFC West, boy. Chargers are not playing with you, Chief. They not playing, but you get outside that pocket if you want. You roll left, you're going to see Bosa. You roll right, you're going to see Khalil Mack. They are not playing with you over there. And they got Darvin James coming back. And they got a good linebacker core. The Chargers going to be filthy. They got some corners, too. The Chargers going to be filthy next year. Enough to win the AFC West? I don't know. But you still got the Chiefs over there. And obviously the Broncos with who they got. That's the toughest division in the league now, I think, the AFC West. If you think the AFC West is a tough division in the league, man, let me know, man. I think it's the toughest division in the league right now. My dog ain't barked all goddamn day, and now he want to bark. That be OC. The internet connection been off the chain all day, and now I get the yoke connection and unstable, so I'm hoping that I'm good. Dog ain't barked all goddamn day, and now he in the front barking. Every time I get ready to do my show, he want to go off. I know some of y'all. I know y'all watching Brooklyn versus Philly right now. I feel like I got the short end of the stick today, man. Somebody tell the NBA on Thursdays, man, they gotta put the cake games on. Like, stop doing me like that, man. But I know y'all probably watching Brooklyn and Philly. I ain't in front of y'all. I got Brooklyn and Philly on too. I got to mute it though. I got the game on too because I definitely want to see KD and them get busy. I want to see Harden and B get busy. It's lit right now, man. NBA is lit right now. I see y'all fouling in too, by the way. I see y'all fouling in. Shout out to you. If you're in the building, man, make some noise in the chat. I see y'all fouling in. If you are in the building, make some noise in the comment section. Please. We don't bite here. If you're in the building, show some love. Make some noise. Last week, we had Lincoln Park High School freshman basketball coach Kiara Saunders in the building. Beautiful show, dope show. The numbers was up there. She had a lot of support in the building, man. Shout outs to her. First year ever coaching at Lincoln Park. And apparently Lincoln Park didn't have a freshman girls team in 5 years. She gets there the first year, and they make it to not only the city playoffs, they make it to the city championship. They make it to the city championship. But like, you gotta give, man. You gotta show love to that, man. That's dope. That's a dope story, man. Dope interview with her on her past experiences as not only a coach, but as an athlete, as a student athlete, and how she uses coaching basketball to empower young women. Dope episode. For y'all in the building right now, before I go to a break and bring on flag football extraordinaire. I think if you put like a Mount Rushmore, you had like a Mount Rushmore flag football, probably. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of people say like, yo, you got to put him on that. I would not be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. But before I bring him on, I've got to share some news with y'all, man. It's been tough, man. You notice I rolled the promo for this show real late. Normally, y'all know I'm on top of that thing, but it's cracking right now. Y'all know I got a nonprofit, Stay Relentless Life and Hip Hop initiative. We are in the final 3 of a huge grant, of a big time grant, and I'm in the middle of preparing a presentation for that. So I'm locked in, guys. I'm locked in. So if shit get a little slow, you know what I mean, know that I'm working on something big, man. Y'all know. Shout out to Stay Relentless Life Hip Hop Initiative, man. If you want to support my nonprofit, man, go to the website, man. We doing a lot of beautiful work for the kids, not just in Chicago, but in the state. Traveling back and forth to Bloomington. I've been traveling back and forth to Bloomington, working with kids for the last month. And now I'm trying to put some of that program into the city of Chicago as well, man, where our youth can use it too. If you want to support Stay Relentless, man, Stay Relentless, LHH.com. Stay Relentless, LHH.com. Support my nonprofit. Also, another reason things gonna kind of not slow down, but I'm gonna be a little slow. Your boy just got offered a job for Baller TV, bro. Bro, if y'all don't know what Baller TV is like the ESPN for youth sports. Like, that's exactly what Baller TV is. Like, if you don't know what Baller TV is, man, ballertv.com. That's all I'm gonna say, and just go. And you're gonna see it. You're gonna be like, yo, like, that's a big deal. Man, shout out to the Lord for blessing me with that, man, because that's something that kind of fell in my lap. And I want to give love to the Players Pit for that, because without the Players Pit, I wouldn't even got that job, bro. They found me on YouTube, bro. Like, y'all see, I don't got 1,000 followers. I don't get 1,000 views. You feel what I'm saying? But you just never know who watching. All you need is one. All you need is one person to peep what you doing, man. And things can get crazy for you, man. And they reached out and was like, yo, we like what you doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we get to know you? Slid in the DMs. I said, what's up? Set it up. Did the interview. Got the offer. Baller TV, man. The Players Pit and D-Sun, man. We in the building now, man. We gonna try to do some wonderful things with that, man. And I credit the Players Pit to that. My platform, the Players Pit, y'all showing me love, not just on the show, but in the Facebook group. Because again, without y'all and without me getting this content, without guests like I have today, I wouldn't have the content to put on YouTube. I wouldn't even be able to get discovered on YouTube by somebody like Baller TV, by an organization like Baller TV. That is fucking insane. And like I said, without having thousands of viewers, thousands of downloads, all you need is one. And that's the perfect definition of that. So with that being said, man, hope y'all ready to enjoy the show, man. If you got the game on like I do, mute it like I do. Show some respect, man. Share the broadcast, man. Like, share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. You in here, you're not sharing the broadcast, I got a problem with you, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Like it, love it, do all of that good stuff, man. Because if you ain't doing that,
that's not how the game is played.
Y'all heard my man Avon. That ain't how the game is played, man. Shout outs to The Wild, my favorite show of all time, man. I'm gonna run it back for like the 4th time. I'm about to cut to this quick commercial break. When I come back, I'm gonna have the premier, the owner, the founder of the Premier Flag Football League in the city. You know, I'm gonna say the country, bro. I'm gonna say the country. I'm gonna let them talk his shit too. I'm gonna say the country, man. Joey Heron of Absolute Athletics, man. We'll be right back in about 60 seconds. Holla at me.
hard to bring down. There's a throw into the end zone, maybe intercepted down there by Lewis. And so just like that, a promising drive, but throws to an area instead of doesn't give his.
Sidney Lewis, Chicago Blitz head coach. Vassar West High School, football track. The high school, I went out to junior college. So I ended up taking offer at the University of Wyoming to play football. As soon as I stepped on campus, whole coaching staff that recruited me left and went to the University of Houston. So I had to transfer to a lower level. So I transferred to Division II, which ended up being the greatest thing collegiate-wise for me. So I ended up transferring to a Division II called Grand Valley State. Played football there, ran track there, won a national championship there. Went 14-0. Head coach of LSU was my head coach, Brian Kelly. So coaching the Blitz now. They actually brought in another coaching staff. You know, I was asked that I want to coach then, and I turned the position down. They kept pressing, you know, which wasn't a bad thing. They kept pressing, and I thought about it, had some conversations with some folks, and I decided to take the position. The dedication of some of our women is truly amazing.
Yup. Y'all shout outs to Sidney Lewis, head coach of the Chicago Blitz women's football team, which is a perfect segue to this, but let me finish plugging in real quick. That's the one-on-one series that I have where I cover former athletes, coaches, anybody inside the sporting realm. I sit down with them, I pull up on them, I have a nice one-on-one with them, man, and we create magic. I ask them questions, I make it an informative piece. I kind of want it to be I want you to look at that and learn something. Put it that way. So every time we drop a one-on-one, it's going to be special. Shout outs to BP Slim, my shooters, for not the one-on-ones, but for the Players Pit YouTube series. It's over with, y'all. It's done. All 4 episodes of the first season. My man BP is editing right now. We in post right now. We should be looking at like May for the first episode. Probably not even that long, y'all. You know what I mean? It's up there, man. It's up there. With that being said, best guest in the world today, man. Best guest in the world today. Like I said, I think if they had a Mount Rushmore for flag football, man, he might be on it. He might be on it. In my opinion, in my humble opinion.
In my opinion too, shit. I'm gonna be honest.
In my opinion, you hear me popping already. Joey Herring in the building. Make some noise for Joey Herring, man. We talking about not just the owner and a founder of his own league, but also use that as a stepping stone to where he is now on a national level as the executive director for UFFL, United Flag Football League, man. That shit is dope, man. Like, talk to me, Joey, man. How you feeling today?
No, I'm good. Just another day in the neighborhood, you know. We're getting ready to get started back for football. So, you know, it's all hands on deck. It's time to get everything working. Teams starting to register.
Yeah, man. I want to talk to you about that, man, because when you rolled out the plug, I was like, damn, like that's tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a little setback with the indoor season due to COVID and stuff, but you know, we back with outdoor, and it ain't really that far away. I just looked at it; it's really only like 3.5 weeks away. So
yeah,
we'd be ready to get it correct.
Yeah. So before we even get into like all the talking points I want to talk to you about, it's always good to give the people that's going to be listening on the playback and the people that's probably watching the live a little bit about you. Tell them about yourself, man. Before like all like pre-flag football, you play football in high school, college, any type of coaching credentials, playing credentials, man. Tell the people about yourself, your sporting background.
All right, well, I'll start from the beginning, man. I probably started playing football, I want to say when I was like 5 or 6. So I've been playing football probably longer than I haven't been playing football. So I started off when I was 6 in Little League. You know, I played little high school football. Then that's when it get a little sketchy. Me and the high school coach, we didn't see together, you know, eye to eye too much. And I had been on the team for a while. As a sophomore, I played varsity and on through. Was trying to go to college to play, but me and the coach didn't see eye to eye. My senior year, we got into it. Stuff went downhill, so that ended my career at that point. But then I went and walked on to Illinois State my junior year.
Illinois State.
Yeah, shout out to the Redbirds, Reggie Redbird and all them. So I played there for a year. That didn't work out how I wanted it to. I'm gonna be honest. I had a daughter. I was in college, and they weren't paying the bills, so it was time to move on. So I played a little bit there. Then after I graduated, I moved up to Chicago. Somebody told me about this flag football league. I don't play no flag football. So I came out just to watch, and ever since then, that was the start of me learning Chicago flag football and turning it into what it is now today.
So this flag football league that you got exposed to, I like you keeping it a buck and saying like they told me about this flag football league. He was like, I ain't playing no flag football. And now look where you at now. Exactly. I want to talk about the stigma of flag football, man. Like, you know, a lot of us when we first hear about flag football is like, flag football, like what? You know what I mean? I think that's probably changed over the years, but we talking about at a time early 2000, well not early 2000s, yeah, probably like
mid 2000s.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, like mid 2000s. So at that time, flag football not even popping like that.
No. Back then, I mean, the stigma was if you play real football, yeah, it's soft. And then it didn't help that they were saying women was playing too. So I'm like, wait, so you mean to tell me I'm gonna come play some flag football and women? I'm good. But it turned into a whole lot more than I expected. So it definitely wasn't. It wasn't what everybody. And I tell people this all the time. It's not what you think it is, or when you hear women playing flag football or even co-ed flag football in general. It's actually more fun than regular football, in my opinion. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you get into flag football. You're playing in this league. Is this by chance like the infamous ITZ?
Yeah, this is the infamous ITZ. So I started. And we didn't have this conversation, me and a whole bunch of other people. I don't even know what year it was. I'm going to say 2008-ish, but we don't 7, 8, somewhere in that neighborhood. We came out, and I remember the legendary team was out there. That's what got me to play was Dynasty. I remember I was out there watching Quiet Storm play, and they were playing Dynasty in the playoffs. And Dynasty was so fucking cocky that they came out in white jerseys in the first half. And then at halftime, they switched to purple jerseys. And I was like, man, this team must be like the shit. So I wanted to come check them out. And that's really how my love came from. I'm like, man, I want to play against them. I never wanted to play with them. I just wanted to play against them.
Yeah, like it's funny because you hear stories about how legendary Dynasty was. Now, if you're not from the Chicago flag football cipher, then obviously you listening, you like what are you talking about? But just know, like they was different.
They was different.
Like, they was different. You hear horror stories about Dynasty, how they used to do some teams. So you play ITZ, right? You play ITZ, you win that cipher. As a player, what propelled you to say, you know what, this is something that I might want to look into, like, you know, as far as like operating? Like, how does that happen? How do you go from a player to saying, all right, well, let me start my own shit? Because I hear stories about this. You know what I mean?
For me at least, and I'm gonna keep it 100 and be honest with you. Yeah. With me, I never came in thinking I'm gonna start a flag football league. I'm gonna be honest. I had just moved to Chicago maybe 6 months, 8 months before that, so I didn't even know nobody. So I was just, let's see what this talking about. So it actually started probably about my third or fourth season in. It just, the league wasn't what I was used to in form of football. You come out there was no scoreboards, there was no refs, there was no lines on the field, and I'm a natural problem solver. So for me, I'm like, why we don't have this stuff? Why this don't work like that, or this don't work like that? And then, some things happened where some things were said about the league that I didn't really, too much care for. So I said, okay, well, I mean, if we could run a league, this kind of how it's being ran right now, I think I could do something, at least make it at least what it is right now, and just see where it go from there. And 10 years later, we're where we are now.
Yeah, that's interesting because you see a problem in the league. See, a lot of people see problems in the league. See, you what like you said, you're a problem solver. So you what a lot of us call a doer. Like, okay, like fuck all the bullshit. Like, okay, like let's stop complaining about. Let's do our own shit. Like, I'm pretty sure people got problems with everything, right? But nobody says, you know what, I'm gonna step out on the box. I'm gonna step up on faith and do my own shit and just see what happens. But so at this point, right? Is there some type of I don't want to say beef, but how does that work? Like, you leave ITZ and you say, you know what, I'm gonna start this new joint. I'm gonna start this new venture. I'm gonna start this new league. Like, so how did you even have the network to even have the balls to even do that?
I didn't. I'm not gonna even lie. I mean, I was on some young, I don't care. Let's just start this league. Like, I think we can make it work. I'm being honest.
You didn't think it was gonna be what it was.
No,
like, let's start a league.
I mean, when I left ITZ, I think there was maybe 12 or 14 teams, somewhere in that neighborhood, around there. So I'm like, you know, it's a nice Sunday afternoon, but it was one game going on at the time, wasn't much going on. I'm like, I could make it work. There was really no, I'm not gonna call it a beef at the time. I wasn't happy with the league. Anytime you play in a league and they tell you some of the things they told me, I'm just like, you know, well, then I just start my own shit. So that's really how it started. It was based, and I'll be honest and say what the conversation was. It was about some flags. It was that petty. It was some flags. We was like, hey, we don't have enough flags for our team. And they was like, well, till you figure out who got all our flags, this is all we got. And that just kind of lit a fire under me to start my own league. Real talk. That's
way to go, customer service.
Yeah, that's simple.
So you break loose ITZ. You say, I'm about to start my own shit.
Yep. So I went to my team. I played with Storm at the time, and it was me and Keisha was on the team. Lakeisha Marsh, she was a partner with me in CBL. We kind of talked about it, just kind of jokingly, and then we kind of got serious, like, let's do this. And she was like, okay. And you know, she was a lawyer, so I'm looking at it from the business side of it, like, you're gonna need a lawyer to make sure all this shit is right and legit and everything else. Because I didn't know what I was doing. So I brought, you know, me and her talked, and she was like, well, we probably need to bring somebody else in. That's how Dante got brought in. So we bring Dante into the picture. So now Dante like, oh, I was working with somebody else on doing the same thing. So let me bring my guy in. And it turned from me and Keisha talking to 2 people into 6 people. And I really thought our 6 people was a legit 6 that was to be messed with, because we all had different specialties in what we were doing. So, you know, finance, lawyer, insurance, photographer, computer, all put into one. You like, oh, that's, you know, it's a no-brainer. It's gonna work out, and it did. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that went on, and it went on for, I mean, CBL went on for 6 years. We had our run. We had a great run, you know, and when we decided to break off and not do CBL anymore, that's when A2 came about. So I was like, I just feel like it was my time to do it on my own.
Yeah, I know when I know how I got exposed to it. I'm not sure if you remember how we met. You probably do though. I was sitting in the park district, Lake Meadows Park to be exact, man. Lake Meadows Park don't even exist no more, in case you didn't know.
Don't exist. Yeah. Legendary park.
Oh, I was at Lake Meadows Park, man. We had a trailer, but that's neither here nor there. But I can't remember. I can remember if Miss Overton, shout out to Miss Overton. I remember if she introduced me to you, or if you came in, because I know you were. I know that's how you was booking the fields at the time at the legendary Dunbar Park that everybody loved, right? You was booking the fields through Lake Meadows, were you?
Correct. That is cool.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you were looking for people to work the clock, or if or Miss O told me like I should link with you, but I was like, yeah.
I think she hooked me up with you. She said you was looking for some stuff. I like, well, we do need some people, so that'll work out perfect.
Yeah, and I went out there my first Sunday, and I did it like in the first. I'm thinking flag football. I don't even know a flag football league even exists in Chicago at this time. I don't even know that shit exists. Now I do know Miss O used to have the schedule like on the pen on the board in her office, and I would look at it, but I ain't think none of it. You know what I mean? Right. But I ain't even think a league exists. So I'm like, yeah, I go. I'm thinking it's gonna be like, like whatever. I'm gonna go. It's probably gonna be a waste of time. And I got out there my first weekend, my first Sunday, and I was just amazed at how many people were out there. And I think this was at a time where you probably had like 40, 50 teams.
Yeah, we maxed out
a park. You had 3 fields.
3 fields going at once all day, 9 to 5.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Like I'm out there, I'm looking, you know what I mean? Like you got kids out there, you got the players, you got families out there. Then of course you got the hood out there watching the games, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And it was just crazy how flag football was just bringing all these people together, like every single week, every single Sunday. The energy was crazy. It was so crazy to the point. I'm in my section. I was like, hey, bro, like, I don't know if you're gonna be mad at me, but hey, bro, like, I don't want to do the clock no more. I want to play. I want to play, man, because it's lit out here and I want to get busy. So my question was this: when we're talking about flag football beginnings, right? I want to know, like, how did that, like, with the CBO thing? Can you give me a little? And you touched on a little bit, just a little bit of CBO history, just a little bit. I don't need a lot because I remember you touched on it.
Right. So we started in 2010. CBL started in 2010. It was 6 of us running the league. And, it started off, we started with, I'm going to say 15 teams, I believe was our first season. And I remember the meeting we had when we were going to start CBL, when we were officially breaking off from ITZ. We brought some teams in. We brought Dynasty in. Dante was a part of Armageddon, so we brought Armageddon in. Me and Keisha was a part of Storm, so Storm in. So we like, hey, we want to do a league, blah, blah, blah. And the infamous Ashley Marshall, so from Dynasty. I remember we was in the meeting with him talking. We downtown talking at the meeting, and he just at the end of the meeting like, man, what if I gave y'all the money right now? Is it a go for the league? And we wasn't prepared for that at all. Like, we were like, well, I mean, we actually went in the corner and talked. Like, let's figure out, can we really do this?
Wait. Are you telling me that Ashley Marshall fronted the first ever season of CBL?
No, he was the no. He was the first team to pay.
Okay. All right.
He was the first team to pay. Him and Magic was in the meeting, and they dropped the I want to say $800, $900, whatever it was back then.
Shit, that's like the same at the time because that's the premier team in flag in the city at the time.
Right. So once they said it, and then we knew Armageddon and Storm was on. That was the top. That was 3 out of the top 4 teams in the league. So we knew we had the top of the league, and we were like, well, we're gonna just see what this do, and if it worked, it worked. The first season, that first spring season, we had 15. Now ITZ was still going on. The second season, I remember we had our meeting, or had our registration, teams paid and everything, and we got a phone call. I remember I got an email like 3:00 in the morning. And I remember it was from a team from ITZ, like, he just canceled the season. Can we join CBL? And we went from 15 teams to like 27 teams overnight. And that's when we just started taking off from that point. Like, we weren't ready for that growth at the time. We needed another year really to get ready for it. But I mean, we took it on head on, and it made it what we were at the time.
What was the most amount of teams you ever had at CBL? Because like I said, like my first year doing my first, I think I did the clock for maybe like a full year, which is 2 seasons. And I promise you, I think it might have been somewhere between 40 or 50 teams. Like, that shit was crazy.
44 was the max.
That's
44. I want to say the summer of 13 or spring of 13, one of the two.
That's crazy. So, because we're gonna have some people listening who have absolutely no clue about Chicago flag football, its history and how it started, right? So, after your 6-year run with CBL, you guys had like you said, a 5-6 year run. CBL ends up dissolving, right?
Correct.
And then Absolute Athletics ends up being birthed, which is what you have now. But talk to us about the bridge from CBL to A2. So
the bridge, to some people, I'm gonna be honest with it, it gets a little gray. Some people say, A2 formed from CBL, blah, blah, blah. I was the president of CBL, so I guess CBL was me as well. Like I said, me and Keisha started that at the beginning. Now I ain't gonna say we were the founders because all 6 of us were the founders, but I was a part of it then. And when we decided in December of 2016 to close up shop, I took it as an opportunity. Like I didn't think it was done yet. I thought, we were still at 30 something teams at the time. I want to say we were at 37, 38 teams. Now we were on the decline. I will say we went from 44 and we had been going down a team or two at a time, but we were still over 30 teams. So it was still a good number to have in the form of teams. So I didn't think it was done. And I said, let me see what I can do. And I just went out on a limb and said, I can start this on my own, and it turned into A squared, what A squared is today.
I like to call that period of the transition from CBL to A2, and then like obviously all the other shit that went into that.
Right.
I like to call that the flag football wars.
That's a good name for it. It was some from December 2016. I'm gonna even say it was like one of them wars that just keep going. Probably to 2017.
You know what? Let's talk about that. That's a tidbit that I want to get into, but I don't know how much you're really able to like really talk about.
I'm free to talk about anything.
Oh, well, talk your shit then. The flag football wars, the Chicago flag football wars, bruh. Like recap this. Like recap that, because CBL out of nowhere dissolves. Everybody is like, what the fuck?
It was out of nowhere. It wasn't out of nowhere to us internally, because we had kind of been back and forth struggling with where we were going to go with it, and some comments have been made about just kind of dissolving. Life happens for people. People have kids. Life happens. People were going separate ways. It wasn't, contrary to popular belief, there's not a lot of money involved in flag football. So there wasn't like you splitting a pot with 6 people. There really isn't a lot of money when you're splitting a pot with 6 people. So it kind of was a combination of those, people making their own money doing other stuff. You don't really need to be splitting 6 ways. So that transition was, in my opinion, some people say it was ugly. Some people say it wasn't. Whatever, call it what it is. It is what it is. It's A squared today. But
I wouldn't say it was ugly. I would say rough, because
rough.
I would definitely say rough, because like for us being the customers, and not really just the customers, but like the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all was kind of like, what's next? You know what I mean? Because we had grown, like flag football was kind of like a part of everybody's lives at this point. Now, people can say whatever they want, right? People can say, well, this shit is flag football. It ain't real life. You know how it go, right?
Yep.
When people say that shit. But let's be real. Like every Sunday for 8 months,
20 weeks out of the year.
20 weeks out of the year, everybody was like, yo, like it's lit. We finna get around our favorite brothers, sisters, and cousins. You know what I mean? We're going to play some flag football. Win or lose, we're going to build that community. We're going to be with that community for 20 weeks out of the year. So, like, what the fuck, right? So, CBL dissolves. Well, go ahead. You was about to say something.
Yep. So, no, CBL dissolves. A squared. And I was going through some personal shit. So, it was some personal shit going on. It was a lot of stuff going on at that time. So, A squared name didn't even come out for a few more months because of some personal shit that was going on. So CBL ended. I announced that I was having a league, but there was no name. It was just, hey, we're having a football league. Mm-hmm. People can believe what they want to believe. Then that's when the war started. Then, Bobby had a league and Jay Knight had a league.
Talk about it.
Tracy had a league. Can't forget about and I really
talk about it.
I can't remember his name. I'm forgetting it, but NU Sports had a league too. So it was all these leagues.
NU Sports though was more so like it was more so trying to do like the women's thing though, right?
They were, but then they tried to, once CBL dissolved, they tried to stick their foot in the co-ed league too. Right. They weren't around long in there, but they put their foot in the water.
So we got Joey, we got Bobby and Jay Knight. We got Tracy. And then we got NU Sports, the flag. we got 4 leagues
battling
to get in
with
with 4 individuals. Say it again.
Battling for the same people.
Battling for the same community, for the same people. It's like history repeating itself, right? With the ITZ and the CDL joint.
I wouldn't even say it because I
it's
feel
not
like
the same.
It wasn't the same because that one was more. ITZ didn't dissolve. ITZ didn't disappear; they still existed.
Okay.
CBL disappeared off the face of the earth.
Okay.
So essentially, so that's how I kind of, in my eyes, that's why I say it was different. It was the same because we were competing for the same teams.
So you have this, and this is, like I said, this is flat. Like, listen, bro, if you in Chicago and you in the flat football community, bro, this is history. Like, for real. Like, this is real ass history.
Wait till the documentary come out in about 10 more years, because this is definitely gonna be
this is real ass history. So you got ITZ. I'm sorry. You got all these 4 entities battling for the same people. What happens next, right?
So as they battling, Tracy had her league. I had my. So let me back up a little bit. So NU Sports and Bobby and Jay Knight League, they were battling, they were competing. At some point earlier in the process, they kind of fell out. So they were part of the football wars, but they kind of kicked it off. And then once the battle started, the battle was really between IAC and A2. It was IAC had a league, A2 had a league.
You guys went head to head for about a year, right?
2 years, two full years. It was four full seasons where they had a league and A2 had a league. So it was a nasty battle. I mean, it separated the flag world. I'm not gonna lie. I think if we eliminate, as the Chicago flag football world, if we eliminate that football war for those 2 years, I can almost guarantee you we would have 50 teams right now. Probably 2 locations and 50 teams. No questions asked. But the energy that was put into maintaining A squared and maintaining the league had to be we had to focus on making sure the teams within the league were happy before we went out and got other ones.
Now, this is an ugly part of what the title of this show is when we talk about entrepreneurship in sports, right? And I'm gonna back up as this conversation progresses, but we in a bag right now when we're talking about the flag football wars. You know how everybody pushes entrepreneurialism, right? And just the positivity, the freedom of it, right? But it's something that people don't talk about, right? They talk about the dark side of it. They don't talk about the dark. Like, when we talk about entrepreneur, what's the dark side? The competition factor, right? So you got something that you've been building, that you've been working on, regardless if you started with friends or not, right? 6 years, you have a resume of 6 years standing of the biggest and the largest and the best flag football league and you can make the argument in the country at that time.
It is from a national standpoint in the country.
From a national standpoint, right? And now, because the group dissolves, like you said, fall off the face of the earth, now you have to compete with newer entities trying to get into that realm, right?
Correct.
I want to talk about how much, and let's just keep it a buck, right? How much stress was that really on you? Because I was in being, I keep it a buck. I keep it a buck on the show, Joey. I keep it a buck. Was flag football, and even now, and probably more so now, but was flag football like a really big part of like your life and how you eat at the time, as far as like your income and how you provide for your family and yourself? No,
never.
Okay,
never. If even today, if I was to walk away and never do flag football again, it would have, I would say, zero effect, because it will have some effect, obviously, because it's so entrenched in it. But financially, it wouldn't do anything for me. I'm just being honest.
So I got another burning question then. So what are you in it for then?
I'm gonna be honest, and people ask that's a question I get a lot. So I love football. Like I said, I've been playing since I was 5. I want to say 5. I'll just say 6 because that's probably the right number. But I just love football. And the fact that I'm a business person. I've always wanted to run my own business, and not to say that, you know, just because it's not making hundreds of thousands of dollars for me in my pockets doesn't mean it doesn't show me how to run a business or how to do different things that's going to be successful for me later on in life.
Good gentleman. Good gentleman.
And people don't look at it that way, but this is so much stuff A2 has taught me, CBL has taught me, even ITZ taught me that is invaluable, and you can't learn just by studying in a book or anything else. It's something that it teaches me discipline. It's a lot of discipline that's involved in it because people don't realize what has to be done. I mean, I'm gonna be open this book up that people don't even know. During COVID, I wrote the blueprint of A2. So when somebody wants to go to another city and say, hey, I want to open up an A2, I got it right here for you and say, here's this. This is what it costs you to have this. You could run A2 just like I run. Almost down to putting your name in there, D-Son. If you registering you on your team that you're playing on, it's all the details are in there, written out in hand, ready to be franchised.
And thank you, because you lead me into something else, which is the main topic of the show: entrepreneurship in sports. How did you take your love for football in general, infuse it with your love for business? You said you're a natural businessman. That's what you like to do. You want to do your own thing. You want to be your own boss. I want you to talk to me about entrepreneurship in sports and how you was able to even get to this point. Because I know, obviously, we can say now successfully, right? Regardless of if CBL is around or not, with the ascension of A2 and with your success with CBL, you successfully spearheaded 2 leagues.
Right. Correct.
So and then we're not this is just co-ed. We're not even talking about like your women's league division and the other divisions that you have, the other formats of flag football that you have, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I want you to talk to me about your path, your goal. You just said you had a roadmap. Like, talk to me about that.
So my thoughts when we originally sat down, it's funny, I don't know if you know this, D-Son, but I'm a historian. Like, I like to keep shit for no reason. So like I have like a CBL book from like the first meeting we had. Like,
that's dope as hell though.
That's
why you know all these records. When people ask you go back.
Oh, we'll get to that later. We're gonna make sure you remind me of the records again at the end.
I got you.
So I wanted to take something that I seen, and I'm like, wait a minute, if this many people is playing this without no marketing, without anything, we could grow this to other cities. So our original goal was to go to other cities. We never got to there in CBL. It just didn't work out. The business model didn't work out how we expected it to. It wasn't a lot of money in it. So you really can't go to another city without having people in those other cities. So I was like, okay, well, how do I turn what I see out here with, even back in ITZ days, 200, 300, 400, 500 people on a Sunday black people at a field behaving, not doing Chicago shit.
Behaving.
I'm like, wait, this could be easily turned into something that could be profitable or beneficial for everyone.
Hold on, Joy. One time for y'all, because for years, I can probably count 2 or 3 times where it was an incident ever.
Ever.
Like,
ever. Shout out to everybody. Now, people don't understand. I really appreciate that, because to say you had something, I'm gonna be honest and say I know for a fact I've only called the police 2 times in 10 years, and if that happens, I'm the first person that's gonna protect my business. I'm gonna protect my business. So if there's some shit going down, the police gonna be called. I'm that dude. I'm gonna call them. But we never really get to that point. So I say 3 times. I forgot about the other incident. But 3 times in 10 years for Chicago in the summer with the number of people, it's amazing to me that we don't get in more trouble. But all of that to flip it to say, all these things taught me about entrepreneurship. All this stuff is what helped build me today to learn the stuff that I'm trying to do outside of flag football. Because there's other things, obviously, that I want to do besides flag football, that this stuff taught me those things to help me and, put me on a level where I can understand how to make those things work.
And I think that's a good segue into obviously where you are now, right? So you got all these years of experience running your own league in Chicago. And now you are the executive director for not just a city or regional body, but a national body with the United Flag Football League. How did that even come about? How does one suddenly look up and they with the UFFL? Like, how the hell does that even happen?
I'm gonna be honest and say I can't tell you how it happened because I wasn't expecting, kind of like you were talking about earlier, how something just falls in your lap. It was something. So I'm gonna rewind it. Probably this was maybe 2016, 17. I had met a guy from Virginia. Me and him had talked. We started talking about starting our own national league. We talked every other Sunday night.
Your own national league?
Yeah, we started this. This was before. This is some history. I told you I'm a history buff.
All right.
2016. We was on that then. We was saying let's start this league. Let's get it going. We had, and it's funny because out of those 5 people that was on those phone calls every week, 4 of them are part of the UFFL right now. So that was like the.
Did the other one go to the other joint? Or?
No, the other one they just
okay.
Like that. So we as we were building it, and as we going and we talking and everything coming together, we just couldn't figure out how to get over the hump. Not gonna lie, money was the issue. It takes money to run a national league, a national governing body. So we didn't have that, and we weren't. I wasn't thinking on that level at the time. At that time, I was like, man, I just got up with some guys from DC and Virginia. I'm just trying to be nationally known. This is when I first started coming to the national scene. So it wasn't a big deal to me. I'm like, we just talking. Well, fast forward, it didn't end up turning into something. Fast forward to October, what is that, 2019, 2020, one of those years. My guy hits me like, man, you interested in still doing some national stuff? I'm part of the UFFL. Now, we had actually met with the UFFL. We weren't feeling some stuff they were saying back in 2017. So whatever. But they talked to me. Let me listen and see what happened. Listen, jumped on the team, and the rest is history. It just turned into literally I was on again, me being a problem solver. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sitting on a phone call. It's 10 or 12 of us on a UFFL call. I'm the new man on the phone call. I ain't got shit to say. I'm just listening. So we get to talking. They start talking about the schedule. The person that was in charge of doing the schedule was like, I need some help. Nobody wanted to volunteer. I'm like, well, I do a schedule for 30, 40 teams every week. Yeah, schedule ain't shit. Like, come on, I can help out. And
every week.
and that turned into me helping out with the schedule, turned into me being, first I was the co-ed director at the time. Then that turned into, then I went into the back office, and now I'm on the leadership team doing every goddamn thing, if you ask me.
But that's crazy to me though, because because you're saying like right place, right time, right? But we're not talking about like a regular position. Like, no. I'm like, I don't know, fucking secretary or I do the typewriting or something. We talk about the executive director. First of all, what is the executive director?
Well, here, I'm going to give you an update. I'm going to give you an update.
Flag Football League.
So I'm actually the executive director of finance and operations now.
Talk your shit.
So it did improve a little bit. But
crazy.
As your boy Chuck said, my price went up.
Your price went up. Shout out to Custom Chuck, man. They out here doing this thing. Go ahead, though.
So no,
you good, Joe?
We do a lot. Like, I mean, we talk all the time. Like, we basically have conversations. We're building nationals. We're building the circuit. We're building points. We're figuring out rule changes. We're talking to sponsors. All that good stuff. All that comes together with the leadership team. It's 5 of us that's on there, and we just talk about different things and how we can make everything better and improve, and what we're gonna do to help it. Like, we already know, it's competition in that too. There's 2 leagues in that. So every year we're trying to figure out how we could be better than our competitors, or how we could improve things to make us, put us in a better spot.
As somebody who went to UFFL this year, and somebody who I'm not really big on the national like scene as far as like the guys who've been playing this shit like everywhere, the guys and gals who've been playing it like everywhere, and they kind of know everybody, and they know the rule changes, format changes, and all that shit. They know amenities and all of that stuff. So with great power comes great responsibility, right? And I'm in these groups, and they always say like, and they talk about how this could have been different, or how that could have been different, or you could have did this better, you could have done that, Pepper. Can you explain to those type of people like how hard it is to put on a national tournament? Because to some extent, to me, I feel like, and I know a lot of people would say like, well, they know the job, they took the job, right? But it ain't always that simple, right? You know what I mean? Like a lot of work goes into doing what you do. That shit ain't easy. Like, what would you say to those type of people?
And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to not this past year. I'm gonna go back to the year before that. So that was our first nationals that we threw as a league, and the amount of work. And people don't believe me. I think I have some witnesses that was on the plane with me. I literally got up. I woke up at Tuesday morning at 6:00. My flight left Wednesday at 9 a.m. I did not go to sleep until I got on that flight at 9 a.m. And then when I got there, I didn't get any sleep while I was in Florida. I told people, and they thought I was joking. I probably got 10 hours of sleep that whole weekend.
The whole weekend?
The whole weekend. And that's Wednesday. I got there Wednesday, and 2 of those hours was on the flight. So it really wasn't a lot of sleep. I mean, it was nights. I remember that first night, I went to bed at 4:00. I was up at 6:30 because we were working on the schedule still. So it's stuff that goes on. But what I would say to people is it's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't know. And it's a lot of things that we do to benefit everybody. I know some teams complain, well, this and that, and my times conflict, and it wasn't supposed to conflict, and blah, blah, blah. But it's so many things that we have to satisfy for everybody that we can't necessarily isolate one team and say, we're going to make this right for you, because it might not make it right for 30 other teams just because we want to make it right for one. So it's a lot of stuff that people just don't understand. And it comes with the territory, the crown that you wear is heavy. So you have to understand that those things are going to come with it. They're going to come with it. You're going to get complaints. Nobody is ever, if every team told me they went to nationals and said they were happy, I would be utterly surprised, because nobody will ever always be happy.
Now, can you hear me? I feel like it's a lag. Can you hear me? I'm good, Joy.
Yep, you good. You hear me? You all good?
Okay. I'll just make sure. So with all that, yeah. Everybody's good. I just want to make sure. Now I want to talk to you about the future of flag football right now, because I think you're in a good space, in a good spot with your history, with your experience, and then also being in the position that you are in now. I think you are a pretty good judge and authority, and knowing like where you think this can be going. Flag football is like a real big thing. Now I remember saying, now when I grew up in the Park District, we had flag football. We had a season inner city, just like we had now. I was able to play in it as a shorty. I was able to coach it with my girls as well. And then I know they still have it now, but at the time, even then, as a shorty, I didn't even know flag football was as big as it, or should I say, I didn't know flag football would get as big as it is now. So now you see flag football, right? You see the entire world getting involved with flag football.
Mm-hmm.
It's trickling down to the high schools, grammar schools.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collegiate sport now. They're talking about the Olympics. We already know we got national and international tournaments. Where do you think flag football is ultimately going to end? Because I really feel like at this point, like we really looking at potentially an Olympic sport.
I'm gonna be honest and say I honestly think one day we're gonna see a professional flag football league.
I believe that.
I don't think it will be on the level of the NFL, because I mean NFL in a different atmosphere, but I feel that it could be something. And I don't mean to call it a gimmick like this, but this is what I could compare it to. something similar to like the Big Three.
Okay.
Where it travels, it's city to city, but it's not like an ongoing season.
And it is professional.
Right. And you know me, I always got my hands in stuff. So I would gladly put my hands in that if anybody's out there listening. But I do think that's something that it will turn into, because once it gets to be an Olympic sport, I mean, it's so many variations of it. It's just, I'm interested in learning which variation of flag football is going to turn into that major one that say this is the style, because you got 5, 7s, 8s, co-ed, men, women, this, that, and the other. When you got all that mixed in, I feel like one thing is going to come out of it, one style. I honestly think it's going to be 5s.
I think it's going to be 5s too.
And when it comes out of it, that's what's going to take off, because 5s is so easy to copy and
it's fast.
And it's fast and it's exciting.
I wouldn't be surprised, even though this is still 5s. But at the gauntlet format that was at the other league, that was popping. But that's 5s too. It's 5s only, but that's 5s too. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like I definitely wouldn't be surprised at 5s, because it's fast paced. It's exciting. It's a shorter field.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a shorter field. So I want.
And in the logistics of things, people don't think about that, but logistically, that helps out, because even me running a square, trying to find multiple 100-yard fields is a lot harder than finding one 60-yard field, or 60-yard field by 20 yards wide. You get 100-yard field, you got 3 of them, and that availability.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you thought about No, let me not jump that gun. I want to stay on this topic of the future of flag football. So I know you kind of dabbled into this future of flag football, because you had a national team for Chicago at one point, right? Chicago Chaos was a national team, right?
Yeah, that was we were part of a national league that
the part of a national league. Now, is that league still going on, or is that something that kind of like stalled out?
I think they had one season, but I don't think they're coming back for a second. We didn't play. We didn't even play in that first season. Is it that it's probably too hard to put together like a national league? No, I don't think that. I think you need the backing. Like, again, I go back to my CBL start days. The first thing that I have in that notebook that I wrote down, and people won't believe it, but in that notebook I had sponsors. You can only make so much money by charging players. You have to get sponsorship money to come in and take over for the majority of that and cover those costs, which they get benefits out of that obviously as well. But that's where I feel is lacking as of right now. But I don't think that's going to be for long. I feel like a Nike or somebody big like that going to come drop some money on it. And once they drop it, it's going to be a wrap. That's going to be the league that takes off. So it sounds like sponsorship is like really just that not the blueprint, but that shot in the arm that the future of flag football really needs. Because it's like seeing, like, I've been to nationals probably like the last 4 or 5 years, and it just seems like no matter what league it is, it just gets bigger and bigger. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like the formats, like the competition level is always high. And you would assume that anyway, because it's national, right? So the competitional level is always high. You see the sponsors, you see the vendors, you see the different teams, you see the different regions, you see teams that come from the DMV area, the West Coast, the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like if you would have told me, like when I first peep game and flag football, like just working the clock at Dunbar Park, that it was that big, or that it was going to get that big, I would have been like, yeah, what the fuck ever. But now when you look at everything with NFL, right, you got people who, you got athletes who are great athletes, but, you know, they just can't make it in the NFL, but they still want to be around the game. So what's the next path for them if they want to be around the game? It's flag football. You got women who can't play, like who are amazing athletes, but they're not playing in the WNBA. They're not doing track. They're not doing you know, any other sports, but they want to be around some. They want to be athletically active. What's the next thing? It's flag, right? And then you have parents
who got kids who they probably don't even want their kids
playing
football because of the concussions and all this thing. But this kid really want to play flag football, or they want to think of an alternative for they kid to play. What's that? It's flag. You know what I mean? And I think when you look at flag being an alternative to the NFL or being to contact football, I think it's a bad mood rising, for lack of a better word. I mean by bad mood rising. I mean, like, it ain't gonna do shit but get bigger.
No,
You
right,
know what I mean?
exactly.
And I can just imagine what the end game of flag football can end up being.
I see a whole lot. Like, I literally see it getting to the point where it's a paid league. Like, no bullshit. I mean, it's damn near a paid league now. If you really think about it, teams go to tournaments. They pay a small fee. If they win, they get a cash prize. AFFL, they kind of did it, and they kind of dibbled and dabbled in it. They still ain't paid their people yet, but that's a whole nother story. but again, they were giving out $200,000. What happened? Why they can't pay the people? Funding. You need that funding, and I think that's
a
where,
lot of money.
I think that's where the future of flag lands at. Is who's going to be that first company that drops the money to fund the league? Whoever it does is going to be the league that takes off. Because it only going to take once it takes off, it's over. It's not going to be any holding it back.
If I'm not mistaken, I think outside of the NFL, obviously, I think Under Armour is like the biggest sponsor for like flag football.
But see, yeah, they do like kids flag football, and nothing wrong with kids flag football, but that's not going to be what gets paid, because you
right.
Those are for athletes. They can't be paid because they want to go to college and play other sports. Like, let's say somebody want to go play basketball. Now you didn't got paid to play flag football. You can't go play college football or college basketball or whatever other sports you want to play. So I don't think it's going to be there. I think it's going to be something that's kind of like an after college thing that, you know, the upper tier athletes and some of the recreational athletes do as well. And it's kind of like the average Joes versus the pros. I got a vision for it. I got a vision for it. I can see it happening. I mean, like I said, the right person out there, we could talk. I got a vision.
Would you be the one who spearheaded?
I mean, like I said, the funding for that would have to be there, but we could do that.
You know what? Before I move on next, for one of the close, but we got a little good. We good.
Yeah, we good. We good. I hear you.
We got a little. All right, yeah, we look good now. All right. I'll look at that. Damn, that's gonna be a monster edit. So before we move, I'm good, Joy, right?
Yep, you good.
We got a little lag here. All right, so
you all good.
Before we move on, anybody listening on the playback, please make sure you subscribe to the Spotify, the Players Pitch Show, YouTube, the Players Pitch Show, Facebook group, the Players Pit with D-Son, man. Keep getting them numbers up, man. Keep getting them numbers up. I know y'all watching that young Brooklyn Philly game tonight, man. I see my guys on the group chat going crazy. I ain't even gonna charge them. I ain't even gonna charge them for it. The game, but I see Brooklyn is kicking their ass. Like kicking their ass. But anybody checking out again, and if it's your first time ever listening, man, welcome to the Players Pitch Show with D-Son, where we bring together anybody who's anybody in the sporting realm. We talk that talk in entrepreneurialism. We talk that talk in life skills. We talk that stuff in anything societal and cultural issues rooted in and around sports. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're a casual fan. It doesn't matter if you're somebody who really in that line of work. We talk that talk. There's no limit to who can be in the pit. With that being said, Joey, you have with your football league, right? Have you thought about I don't want to say modernizing, because I feel like that's like the wrong term. You have a successful flag football league. We in Chicago, we have a certain formula or certain format for flag football. Like, that's our style, right? You know, right. the pulley flags, the 707s. And I know recently you've been dibbling and dabbling in the 5s. You got the women's, obviously. Have you taken anything, or should I say study anything from the national level and said, you know what, that might be something that I want to implement in my Chicago league? Because I know a lot of teams or a lot of players in Chicago, they go to the national league, they be like, yo, this isn't really our style. They got different flags, they play a different format or whatever. Like, and I know you get bombarded with texts and emails and say like, yo, like you should implement that. If you thought about potentially like starting maybe like, I want to say a secondary league, because you already do like women's league and then you do fives with different formats.
So a couple things. I hit on what I've learned. It is a couple of things. I've even brought them back to Chicago so far, like the blitz, for example. The blitz is something that I thought I've seen it played at the other, at national levels where they're blitzing every play because they're just doing a delayed rush. As in like back 7 yards, like in fives.
Oh, so the straight rush.
Yeah, the straight rush, but you just got to stay back, 5-7 yards or whatever. I even looked at COVID, kind of messed it up because I was going to look at trying that in our league instead of putting a rusher at the line and being a delayed rush. It was going to be just a straight rush from 7 yards back. We didn't get into it. That's one thing that I do think when I talk to, other people on the national level and try to figure out if we could ever turn the Chicago 7 co-ed into a national style, that's the one thing that they complain about or mention is like that rush has to stop. It has to be different. So that's one of the things I have looked at trying to change and bring something back. Now, as far as expanding into other ones, I'm glad you said that because I don't know if a lot of people know, but this year I'm still working on the details and the kinks, but they'll be coming out soon. We're going to have an 8 co-ed draft league in Chicago that's going to be going on over the summer where we can, in my opinion, the thing is to draw people to play in that style because that style is what's played at nationals in 8 co-ed. And with 8 co-ed, if we don't play it year round, we go down to Florida and look like we some bums and just struggle against teams. Like, there's no way Cartel or the family should go down to Florida and go, don't get a win. Like, they're too good of teams, but we don't play that style. So it kind of is a disadvantage when you get down there for a team that's been playing it for 5 years, come doing the same thing, but they're doing it more strategically than we are. So that's something I'm bringing to Chicago to try to get us caught up and up to speed so that we can adjust and we can play with some of those teams down there.
So when you talk about bringing that to Chicago and having a league for that, so we're talking about points in the ranking system that'll help Chicago teams also rank at a national level too, correct?
Yeah, it would be more. This would be more for people to learn the style more, I would say, because since it's a draft league, there's no teams. They're basically your teams being drafted. So,
okay, all right, yeah.
So
but to get people acclimated to the style. Okay.
Right now, so some of the things that I'm thinking about doing for that league is that team that wins, they get a free bid to nationals. So now that team that just won our tournament won our league can go down to nationals and actually compete as that team, so that we have some type of way of the best of our best are competing and not just a thrown together team.
For you being now obviously running Chicago leagues and being in the Chicago scene, so you already know what time it is, and then being at nationals X amount of times. If you had to give me like your top 3 regions, cities, your top 3 cities or regions, as far as talent pool is concerned, who would they be on the national level?
That's a loaded question.
I know it's a loaded. I know. All right. So all right. So let me
go ahead. I'm gonna see what you come back with. I'm gonna see what you come back with before I go to it.
Let me let's say men and then women, as far as like a region is concerned.
All right. For men, I mean, when I say men, I'm gonna look at 8-man because that's the most popular style, in my opinion. Most teams in it. So with 8-man, number one area probably is going to be DMV area. They win most of the national titles. The only other national titles that was won by Chicago. So for my thing, I would say DMV is number one for men. Number 2, I'm probably gonna have to say Chicago, just because I'm not gonna say Chicago because we're not on that level, in my opinion. We may have a top team or top 2 teams, but outside of those teams, we don't really compete on that level yet. We haven't gotten there as such as other teams. I would probably say Atlanta might be number 2 for 8-man, and then I'll probably put Chicago after that because there's not really any other big areas. Now, if you go to 5s, you're gonna have to throw Carolina in there, because Carolina they go crazy on the non-contact styles, but on the contact styles, that's more of a, in my opinion, an up north, more of an up north thing, probably because it's colder and we play more contact football.
Mm-hmm.
Now, women's DMV hands down. I don't even have to question that. They won, and this is my guess, I'm gonna say the last 10 national titles was from one league, not even one area, one league. So those same teams just keep winning. So I say DMV. Second place, I'm gonna probably say Atlanta again, and I say Atlanta because they women teams are known to be strong and right there every time. They may not win every year, but they're right there competing. And right now, I'm gonna probably throw in maybe an up and coming Carolina area, like the North and South Carolinas, because they're starting to come around too and compete with the Chicago team. So Chicago and North Carolina is probably head to head on the women's side. It's probably about the third. It's, in my opinion, about the number 3 city on the list.
What do you say about when we talk about like the advantages of like the national game, right?
Mm-hmm.
How, and I'm speaking obviously us being based in Chicago, and I think you've done tremendous and made great strides into trying to make flag football a year-round thing for us with your indoor league now. With the indoor league, if you cut out COVID, shit, we probably played what, 9 months out of 12, 9 months out of the year,
easily.
Like so what do you say about the disadvantage of Chicago teams going down to nationals, because it's tough for us to play year round due to weather? Obviously, we can't play outside in the fall and
I
winter.
think and people gonna hate me because they do, as always. I think we use that as an excuse. Like, I get it. Yeah, we can't play like Florida plays. Florida plays every goddamn day because it's 70 degrees and warm. DMV, they get the same fucking weather we get. They team's good. They got the same. I actually want to say we may have better facilities than they have. They still practice. They still play. So it's a mindset. It's about a competition. We don't want to get out there and, when it's November and it's cold and you're getting ready for nationals, you're going to have to practice outside. That's what's beneficial for the team. Instead of taking the team indoors and playing in perfect conditions, you're not playing in perfect conditions at nationals. So stay outside where it's cold. You learn to play in the cold. It's only get better when you go to a warmer weather.
Mm-hmm. And that leads me to a question I have for you. Do you think that and I don't want to say a disadvantage, but do you think that we as a Chicago Flag Football League, as Chicago Flag Football athletes, and I'm gonna just say the league in general, because let's be honest, you got the market in Chicago Flag Football. Do you think we as a league take national flag football serious enough to even compete consistently?
No. The reason we don't is, I think our women take it more serious than, when I say our women, than our co-ed teams. And I say that because I don't, I'm not really with the 8-man contact world of Chicago, but I know it, but that's not my bread and butter. So I'm going to only speak to what I know. And I feel like, we should have 2 good teams in Chicago, great teams. I think we put ourselves against each other a lot, and it ends up hurting us in the long run. And I think one of our biggest disadvantages is that, like I said, that one league in DC that has all the teams, that's great. You know why they're great? Because that same team plays together every single week for 2 full seasons. So when they get to nationals, they've already played, 12, 14 games with each other. We play 1 or 2 games, or if we played in the tournament, we don't travel enough. So a lot of our teams don't get to play those styles or play against healthy competition. So it puts us at a disadvantage.
I think that I definitely believe that the segregation in Chicago flag makes it tough.
It does.
And I understand, I be understanding where people say that hey Patrick. I be understanding when people say that we have enough of a talent pool. We have enough of a talent pool to have multiple teams. But I think that'd be ego, to be honest. Because to me, you want to know what I compare going down to Nationals flag to? I compare it to being selected to play for the Olympic team in the NBA.
Okay.
You have the best of the best. So you got the Melos, the KDs, and the Bronze, the Wades, and shit. But all because they might have been the man on their teams, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the man on the Olympic team. You know what I mean? You might have to do a different role on the Olympic team. Like when Kobe was on the Olympic team, Kobe was like, you know what? I'll play, I'm going to do the defense thing. You know what I mean? Brown was the all-around guy. Melo ended up being the best player on the team on that redeemed team. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So you need different, even when you talk about the Olympic team this past year. KD was the guy, obviously, but Dame, who was a guy in his own right, he was more sort of facilitator and things of that nature. So I compare it to that type of thing where it's like, okay, you might be the man on grimy, stony, cartel, but on this national team, maybe we need you to rush. Or maybe we need you to do XYZ. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think about that?
And I think that's built from the competition in the league. Honestly, I think over time the competition has gotten to the point that the great players think they're great by themselves, but they don't realize you need a role player. You need role players to be great as well. And I think that's where we're falling off at, is that we put these super teams together thinking about, oh, this is a great player, this is a great player, this is a great player, but how does that chemistry bond, or who's willing to take a back seat when necessary? Because everybody can't be the man. And like you said, ego gets in that way. And I don't think we need to subject ourselves to having less teams or blah, blah, blah. I just think we need to in order to compete,
strategically put together teams,
and we have to travel. Like, we don't go anywhere. Like I took my 5-man team 4 or 5 cities. That's probably the only travel that we did. But when we got to nationals, we were a little bit better prepared. Did we get our results that we wanted? No, but we were more prepared to come play that style. When you don't travel, you just go. You're going for a weekend to have fun. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. That's how I look at how we take nationals.
I feel like yeah, and I feel like, man, anybody will tell you, they be like, yo, like, you playing in nationals. I played down there one year. I'm gonna play. I think I'm gonna play way more this year. Like, I'm gonna play because I'm gonna rock with a team, and I'm gonna play like nationally. Like, I'm gonna play in the different, not the different formats, but in the different cities. I'm gonna do a lot of playing, especially with Baller TV, man. Baller TV gonna end up taking care of that. But I've been down there, in like, when you get down there, to me, and maybe it's the athlete, maybe it's the OAU player. Like, when you was a kid, you couldn't kick it like that anyway. When you traveled to play basketball, and you Florida, Nebraska, and shit like that. So I feel like when you go down to the nationals and you go to play on national level, no matter where it's at, like, bro, that's a business trip. Like, you ain't got the time to be doing all that kicking it, bro. Like, that's a long flight. That's a long flight back to the crib, knowing you got your ass kicked.
It is, and I think,
like,
that's
so why wouldn't you?
Mentality. I don't think people care enough. It doesn't mean enough to them. They're going to have a good time, and when you're going to have a good time,
I mean, that's cool, but don't play.
Right. I agree.
Like, go to kick it. Go for a vacation. Like that shit not a vacation. You putting up bread. You know, you're paying your team fee. You're paying for flight and all that shit, man, bro.
Airbnb,
Don't go down there to Airbnb and all that shit, hey, bro. Like if you playing on somebody's team, like go do it. What do you say to before I get you up out of here? What do you say? Because we at the hour 30-minute mark. It's kind of the same thing. What do you say about players who play multiple formats? Do you think that they should commit to one format, or do you don't see a problem with playing multiple formats? Because I feel like sometimes it's, at least I can say it for Chicago. I can't say it for nobody else. A lot of our teams who be having potential to win, they get the shit end of the stick because because you know they're not committed to that style. They're committed to another team in a different format. I'm one of those people who feel like, bro, if you're not telling me that my style is priority, my team is priority, I'm not putting you on the roster.
And I think do it happen with other cities. I'm pretty sure it does.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Just by looking at other things that happen, I'm pretty sure it does. But what the problem is, I don't think it's a problem with playing multiple formats. I think you just have to be honest with the team that you're playing with, the teams that you're playing with. Because if I'm playing, you know, you get a block schedule generally to tell you which styles will not overlap. So if I'm playing, let's say, I'm going to just say 5-man and 8-man, and I want to play 8 co-ed. Now, if 8-man and 8 co-ed overlap, which one is my priority? You have to let that team know that, because in the event that those two teams play at the same time, you're going to choose one. You can't be in two places at one time. You're probably going to choose the team that has the better record, more than likely, because that's the team that has the chance to win. But now you're putting the team that maybe if you were there, they would have the better record.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how does that, you know what I mean?
Like, I think that's why I say I think you have to be honest. I think that's the first question. I ask that whenever I have a team that I'm putting together for nationals. That's the first thing I ask. What's your priority? If your priority is something else, that's fine. But I need to know that, so I know when I put you on the depth chart, you're depth chart number 12, 13. So I know where to put you at, because I don't know if you're going to show up or not.
Yeah, like I just don't. I don't know. I be seeing teams. I'll be like, man, that's fucked up. Like, you know, they'd be like, man, that's supposed to play. And then it'd be like the quarterback and shit. It'd be like, damn.
People overcommit. People got to understand you can't overcommit. Like if you the quarterback, and you playing with two teams that play at the same time, and they play one play on team field 1 and one play on field 27. But y'all think you're gonna somehow make it to both games? It's just not realistic.
Yeah, like that should be OC, especially with and the thing is, like, you know, these, and I know I didn't notice it this year. I don't think I noticed this year. I remember one year I went like when fields were kind of like you would have to get in the car and go to somebody else and go to like another field. This season and last season, I don't think it was that you guys had it at one location.
Right, for the most part, yeah. It was some other games in other field, but it was for 8-man, one style. So
yeah. And I know it's a lot of guys who play that 8-man. That'd be like the only style they play.
Yeah, because I mean, it takes a toll on your body. If you really think about it, you could go down there. I mean, if you got a good 8-man team, you could play 6 games, 7, 8 games in 4 days.
That's tough.
People don't, and that's one style. You don't realize how much that bangs your body and keeps going and going and going. So that's why, me personally, the most I've ever played in is 2 styles. And one of them was 5-man. So, you know, 5-man games last 12 minutes. So that's different. But playing 8-man full games, that's a lot. That's a lot, man.
Before I let you get up out of here, man, I always do this thing at the end of the show where I have this. Normally I do the pit, but I think we heard him because we not inside of the pit. Because I'm in Facebook jail. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg. 16 more days in a slammer, man. I'm almost free, man. I'm almost home. 16 more days, man. I can smell the fresh and mama's cooking, man. But it is something else I like to do with the people that I bring on. I call it VOC, voter confidence. I like to take this segment or these gems that they give, and I like to always post them, not just on social media, but I put it in a special playlist on my YouTube channel, The Players Biz Show. For those who don't know, cheap plug. But I put it on the playlist of my almost as like an educational tidbit, like an educational section, inspiration, motivation for somebody who might be looking for some words of wisdom from somebody who kind of been there, done that in that type of realm or in that realm that they want to get in. For my entrepreneurs out here who want to get into sports, or for my people who have bigger dreams in sports outside of just playing, what would be your vote of confidence to them? What would you say to that young to that young entrepreneur or that young business savvy spirit in the sporting realm who wants to get in and kind of carve their own lane in sports outside of simply playing the game? What would you say to that person?
I would say if you got a passion for something in general, whether it's sports, entrepreneurship in general, learn that craft. Like it took me a while to realize you have to learn the craft before you can apply the knowledge that you have to the craft. And that may go over some people's head, but
that was a jump.
learning the craft of whatever that is that you're trying to get across, working on it, applying on it, testing it, making sure it works. People don't understand how many times I've talked to my daughter about this football. She knows she knows a little bit because she's been out there, but she don't know a lot. But it's just the fact of me expressing it and talking it. It gets you to understand what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do, and it makes more sense. Like the
crazy thing is, I bet you she know the business aspect of what you're doing too, though.
Say that again.
I said the crazy thing is, I bet you she know a little bit of the business aspect of it too. Because I'm pretty sure you have her doing some hands-on with that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that I do. I want to pass it on. Is not necessarily. Do I think she's gonna run A squared? Probably not. Just being honest, she's not a football person, so that's not her lane.
Right.
Applying it to what she wants to apply it to, that's what I say. Learn the craft. I mean, and I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit here, but like for me, for when I'm trying to start a league, when I'm starting a league, I look at a couple of things. So I got to the point where I've actually built I call it it's called a tournament tool. I basically can go in there and check and put in 4 or 5 numbers, and it's gonna spit out if this is gonna be viable or not viable. But that took me 7-8 years to master and figure out what numbers I need to know off the top of the head, because it's sometimes opportunities come to you that you need to know an answer right then and there. And if you don't have the capability to figure out whether that's going to work or not, that's why I say you have to learn your craft so you can learn that, so you understand what works and what doesn't work. Put that I put it into the tool. I could tell you could give me the numbers in 5 minutes, and I could tell you if I could make it work or not, just like that. Just because I learned that craft to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and what I need to include in there to even say if it's even worth going down that path. Because sometimes it ain't even worth going down that path. It's a no out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say learn your craft, apply that craft, master the craft, and everything else will fall into place because you're going to use your knowledge that you have, that you learn from other things, to apply it to what you newly acquired and learning about your craft.
And when you say that, study, bro, like, study like whatever lane you want to get in. Like you said, like Joey done said, like you said, Joey, earlier, like you writing a lot of shit down, like you a history book. Like study, bro. Study your craft, study study the lane, study the brand, whatever you want to do, study.
It's definitely 100%. I'm gonna say it to me. I study Chicago Sport and Social. People don't even know it's a Denver Sport and Social. It's a Dallas Sport and Social. I study all that to see what they did and what their motto was. My motto is not their motto. It's not. It's just not. They don't have competition as we do. They don't give out as much prizes and awards and stats. They trying to start getting to that lane because they starting to see that's what people want. But I studied that to figure out what was going to work best for me. Again, learning the craft and applying it to what worked for me and what worked for my audience, because my audience is different than Chicago Sport and Social. My audience is different than even Northfield audience for 8-man. You have to understand your audience and learn it so that you can make sure you apply it the correct way, so you can make sure your stuff grows.
That's business too, man, because sometimes a lot of people, well, shit, ain't no sometimes a lot of people in business shit. I'm even learning it with everything that I'm doing. Like shit, like you have to know your demographic. Like it's not about what you want, it's what they want. You know what I mean? Like it's what they want. What you want don't matter.
Don't
Like
matter
what
at
you
all.
want
It doesn't
not matter, man.
means nothing.
Yeah,
But like
you
I
know,
said, people don't. I learned today. I'm gonna be honest. It was today. I was on a phone call with my guy, my best friend. He a truck driver, so we talking about truck driving and blah blah blah. So he trying to figure out, what you need. How many miles do you need to drive if you run the business to make it break even? Blah 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 blah. So I'm a numbers dude. We walking through the numbers, but I'm start going through the numbers, and he, I'm adding up the stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot a number. And he was like, man, that's a big number that you forgot. I was like, right. And I'm writing it down. I said, imagine how many people are out here that's doing this that ain't writing this shit down. I said, I just noticed it because it just didn't seem right, but a lot of people don't. So just like the price of gas went up, we was just talking about that. He went talking about gas went from, for a truck at least, from $3.50 to $5.50. So he's like, it's at $5.50 right now. That same trip that you took that you could get paid $800, you might need to get paid $1,000 now just to break even.
Just to break
but
even.
People, if you don't see that, then by the time you get to that where you need to get that $1,000 and you didn't get it, now you're in the hole. So
shout out to your man. I ain't a fan of breaking even. I want the profit.
No, he wasn't trying to break even. He was just saying what's the least amount that I can do to make sure this truck is moving. So it's to each their own. Everybody, like I got certain numbers that I want to hit, but my one number is I will never throw something without it breaking even. If it don't break even, it don't make sense.
Why do it?
Unless now there are exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule. If I'm trying to
unless it's the look.
No, or you're trying to grow something.
Right, that's something.
You're trying to take something that's never happened and you're trying to turn it into something big. You may have to take an L at the beginning.
Sometimes the look is big. Sometimes the look is just bigger. The better. It's just better than the profit.
And people don't even realize this. And this is another gem for y'all. Indoor makes me no money. I lose money every indoor. This indoor, I really lost money. So
with the COVID and everything.
Indoor there is no way to make money in indoor unless I have 100 teams and they give me a hell of a discount, which they're not doing. There's no way. So I do that for the brand, to keep the brand going. Does it benefit me? No, I could eliminate indoor and I wouldn't have to worry about it. I save a couple dollars and a headache, but it's something that keeps the brand going and to grow the brand. So sometimes that's what you have to do as a business person. You have to figure out is that's what's best for the customer, because these customers, y'all want to play football all the time, all year round. I got to supply you something or somebody else is going to supply.
Somebody else will. 100%. And now you fight. Now you got another football war on your hand.
Exactly. We've seen how that went.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I want to thank you, man. This was very, very not just informative, man, but it was entertaining. It was some knowledge, some gems, and like also some I guess I can say some things that I didn't know that you put in there. I was like, yo, like word. You know what I mean? Like I definitely want to appreciate you for coming by, man. It was dope, man. We got to do it again, man. I'm gonna tell you, like I tell everybody that come through here, you got a red carpet, bro. Like anytime, like you want to come on and talk your shit, or you got an idea, or whatever, bro. The pit is here. It's a platform for all of us to use, man. It's here for you, bro. Like for real. I'm gonna tell you, like I tell everybody else, you have a red carpet. I definitely appreciate you being here. This is dope, man. I can't wait to really chop it up, edit it up, and get it out there to the masses, especially with a lot of these jams and just a lot of these segments that we had. I think it'll do some dope things.
Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. I support you 100%. You're my boy from way back when at Dunbar. That was a long time ago, but we just doing
long time ago.
Well, okay, it wasn't a long time ago. Yeah, myself. So you doing your thing with the Players Pit, and I appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. I appreciate you, Joy, man. Like I said, red carpet, man. Whenever you're ready, bro.
Yep, you know it.
All right, man. Be smooth.
Yep, you too.
Yet another show. Shout outs to Joey Herron, man. Founder of Absolute Athletics, executive director of the UFFL, United Flag Football League. Man, we had another dope show tonight. I can't wait to get out the Facebook jail, man. We only got two more weeks, which is two more shows before I feel like I can be back home in my comfort level of being inside of the Facebook group. I know it's hurting our numbers a little bit not being in the Facebook group, but I like the challenge of trying to grow it somewhere else, man. Y'all know me. I like challenges, man. And y'all know I always pass that test. So, with that being said, if you're still here, man, I appreciate you staying here for the whole hour, 45 minutes. It seems like the hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes is the sweet spot that we have. Next week, I'm going to have a fresh guest, dope guest. Y'all know how we give it up. If you're here, make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Players Pitch Show. Instagram, The Players Pitch Show. Facebook, The Players Pitch with D-Son. Players Pitch Show podcast is on Spotify. New episodes every single week. The Players Pitch Show. This show will be up no later than Monday. Got new segments coming up on the YouTube that's about to start dropping. The Players Pitch YouTube series is on the way. It's on the way. Y'all make sure y'all be looking out for that first episode in May. Excuse me, man. That's my tequila. With that being said, man, y'all have y'all a wonderful night. I definitely appreciate y'all forever rocking with me, man. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all consistently rock with me every single Thursday, and I appreciate y'all because without y'all, I wouldn't even be high by baller TV, y'all. So I definitely want to give y'all that love for showing me love, man. Y'all be smooth. Y'all stay safe out here. Stay warm. Y'all know we in Chicago, man. Stay on your third eye. But show love at the same time. You feel me? D-Son. I always forget to load this up for y'all before I get up here. Before I get up out of here, man. D-Son. And I am out.
Law Beats.